Well, ain't that a bitch? Man, StreamYard sure is getting tight on their things. But you know what? Let me put some lo-fi onto this thing. Does this shit work? Alright, we'll put that in the background right there. I guess it's lo-fi. You know what? That music sucks. I don't like it. Oh, that's not too bad. Let's check out Into Space. I kind of like that one. Let's go with this one. This is called Daydreaming. Nah. I don't know what the hell this is called. Apparently, there's more music. Nope. I take that back. Let's go with Night Driving. What's up, P Dubs? That's love making music, baby. Hey, you know that's right. All right. I was gonna play my intro, but goddamn StreamYard. Are we discussing flat Earth or jamming oldies? You know what, Lattice? I'm glad you said that because because StreamYard won't let me. It won't really let me type certain things on its website. So I gotta go into my computer and because I'm actually using my phone to do this stream, but I have to change everything as far as like the description and the title in with my computer. So I'm gonna do that because oh, that's marvelous. My bad. Let me see. Switch. I gotta make a change here. For the most part, because some people called me out. I don't know if you guys know that, but some people called me out, and you know me. When people call me out, I'm going to respond. And today is that day because it's been a minute since I've been live on here. And mind you, I wasn't gonna go live because I have to set up the camera, I have to set up the lights, I have to set up the green screen. There's a lot of things that I gotta set up, and it's been a very long day for me, so I was feeling very lazy as far as setting that up. But I'm gonna rename the title here. Uh, we're gonna title it "My Response." Let's see, my response. No, I didn't spell that right. Response to, and I'm gonna add them right now. Let's see, is he here? No, where is he? Hold on, let me check it out, guys. Well, there's one of them right there. Okay, where is this guy here? Okay, I can't find him here, so I'm gonna have to. Let's see. I'm not. Let's see. Peter says I'm not, and I'm not just saying that because he paid me to say that. In my opinion, I think you have the best intro compared to Tony and Marvelous. You know what? And I thank you for that. And I'm gonna give credit to credit where credit is due, and that's definitely due to the Hip Hop Jedi, which is the other producer of NWA right here. So shout out to him for making that making that intro. And mind you, that was all from his head, where he thought of the places where to go. I did point out a few places that we shot, but for the most part, the whole idea and the concept was all the hip hop Jedi. So shout out to him. Where is this guy here? Let's see. Here it is. What's his actual name? I don't want to. Let me mute this thing because I don't want to play his shit right now. Hmm. What's his actual name? Ah, okay, I got it. Yes. There you go. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna read you the. I'm gonna read it to you right now, guys. All right, guys. You guys tell me what you guys think as far as the title. The title is my response. My response to Gunners Collective and Dubs, and why they owe RAZA an apology. And let's see. Let's hear who called you out and when more people join. Okay, well, the jig is up. I already put it in the title, and for the most part, let's see how many people show up for that one. And I'm not saying the Earth is oval. You know what? I say this to everyone. I don't believe NASA when they say what they say. And for the most part, I haven't seen any actual evidence that would convince me that it is round. But I would say there's enough historical evidence to suggest that it's flat. But at the end of the day, who knows, guys? Who knows? I forgot I could do this on this thing. I could put your comments up here. ACP chemistry, we need our own space program. Exactly. But you know what? It's like I told you too. Like no, I said this on Marvelous Flat Earth video that the Mexican president asked Kamala Harris for help as far as putting satellites into space. And that's when he revealed it that that Kamala told him that we don't put satellites into space. We attach them with very good balloons that keep them up there. And I was shocked, and he was even more shocked. He said, "This whole time, I thought they were actually putting them up there, and they were just flying up there in space." Nope, nope. No, it turns out that they really do attach them to balloons. Basic math, and you calculate the circumference. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you're right. I mean, as far as ACP chemistry, you say Kamala isn't a scientist. Well, she isn't a scientist, but she was definitely the vice president. The vice president is definitely, and this is one thing that's important that most people have to know that in NASA, the one in charge as far as funding NASA is the vice president. So the vice president is has more privileged information as to how NASA works with space. Lades says she probably had vodka on her breath when she said that. I wouldn't doubt it. Tarblower, who is Rassam? Did I put an X on there? Stupid ass. Damn it, you're right. Thank you for that. Stupid ass autocorrect. That's how much they hate us. The autocorrect doesn't even let you spell it right. Not actual a space agency. NASA, not actually a space agency. Now that is good. That is very good right there. I like that. I like that you put that there. Have any of you guys seen the music video from Will I Am? It's called Islos. Very dope video. I really appreciate Will I Am for doing that. Will I Am has always been like a hero here in Boyle Heights. He's always been Ghetto Vallero. Hey, buenas noches to you too. ACP Chemistry, I'll be back. How long are you going to be live for? For the most part, I'm going to be probably I'm going to try to push a 2-hour show tonight because I do want to talk to you guys. Todd Lower says, what did Guns and Dubs say that needs an apology? Out of the loop. All right, so how many people? We have 17 people in here. All right, Todd Lower. When we get to like 25 people, I'll delve into why they need to apologize. Tony Ballard says, Will I Am was tagging on the freeway. I seen that video. Yeah, Will I Am's been tagging for a long time out here. Gotta catch a fish real quick. All right, HC people, you make sure you give us a picture on your page when you catch one, because I know you'll catch one. Okay, El Hermano says, what good going on, Brody? Well, I mean, for the most part, aside from wanting to talk about what's going on as far as politics and you know, the community, I did. If you guys watch me and Marvelous on his Marvelous Minds, we tend to read the community posts. We always ask the audience to give us a question or a topic that they would like to discuss, and one of the people that put a comment on there, and I'm gonna read it because this is exactly what I read, what they thought that it was me talking about them. So I'll read it again. Give me a second, guys. And I'm pretty sure it was this one from 9 days ago. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it here, guys. Let's see. Let's see. Was it the one? What's in my written? No, no. All right, okay. I think it was this one from Rising Warrior. Rising Warrior 1999-37 said, why do you think the YouTubers Gil, Hustas, Gunner, Dubs, and Tony A who voted and endorsed Trump are now trying to backpedal and want us to believe that they are for the RAZA? Now that was the comment that I had read and that they had taken as specifically for them. Now, I had said certain things about certain podcasters, and mostly it all went out to podcasters that invited these like rich guys that pretty much talked a lot of shit about the people, and pretty much putting down people that are protesting, telling them they're stupid, they're wasting time, they're making us look bad. And that wasn't really aimed towards them because honestly, I don't watch their show enough to know if they were talking down on on people like that. And it was mostly going out to people that invited people and that were pushing that narrative. As far as them suggesting or telling their audience to vote for Trump, I can't tell you if I ever saw them do that. I mean, anybody here, if you watched them, let me know if that was a something that they did. As far as I know, I never really suggested that that's what they were doing. I mean, for the most part, it's their show. They can do whatever they want. I would say though, the when I checked out the response, I was very shocked to see how many of their audience members were actually conservative. uh, I'm not gonna lie, that really took me back when I saw that a lot of them were conservatives, a lot of them were pro-Trumpers in on their page. So that really took me back because I don't know why I was thinking that I don't know I would hear more Democrats or more not liberals. I don't think liberals, but I was thinking more people that were were not Republican. But it turned out that their audience are actually a lot of Republicans in there. So I guess I can see why Dubs and Gunner decided that they wanted to. Well, I mean, from what I heard them say, they were thinking about their wallet as far as who were they voting for, and for them, Trump was the most financially satisfying for them. So that's what swayed them to vote. Now, as far as them actually telling their audience that they should vote for Trump, I can't really say that I know that they did that because I don't. Let's see. Teletubbies entry Mega Cook. What? No, that would be hilarious. Is that right? Let me see. Don't put the guy that lets other dudes grab his junk. That would be hilarious. Oh my god, that he actually went there. Wow, that is hilarious. But I guess it says it's on Kick. Well, we all know who that guy. That guy is only going to be talking. I guess we got more free promotion. if that's the case, because as far I don't know if you guys know, but that's all this guy can do is just talk about. Oh, look, he's even wearing the sweater. Let's see. That is hilarious. I feel bad for that dude, though. You know what? As much crap as that guy talks about me, Tony, and Marvelous, I really feel bad for him. Like this guy has this guy has a son that has an autistic son. You know, and I don't know how you guys if you guys know anything about autistic kids, but they need a lot of care. They need a lot of support. And I always find it interesting that this guy, he's collecting those government checks to take care of his son, but all I hear about this guy is that he just goes out and drinks with his chick and smoke weed. So I mean, I can't troll a guy that like he treats his kid like that. I mean, as far as from what people tell me that his kid ran away twice from his home. And that says a lot when an autistic kid runs away from your house twice. And he's not like I know I say kid, but he's like a teenager right now. But that when a kid runs away like that twice, that says a lot that something's going on. So as much as this guy bashes us, like I really can't I can't really bash on somebody like that. This guy needs to take care of his own affairs. Because why are you wasting your time talking shit about other people when you got an autistic son that you got to raise? I always found that was weird. And somebody like that neglects, or not neglects, but is trying to be out there like that. you know it's just sad. Not sad for him, but sad for his kid, because that dude is supposed to be there just for his kid. He shouldn't be out here on podcasts and trying to get popular by talking shit about other people. But anyway, enough about him. Let's see. What do we have? What do we have? Wait here. Let me. Mega and Teletubby will be grabbing each other's. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a. If we see another picture surface like that. Um, let's see. Texas Gunner says the protesters are stupid and making us Latino look bad. What the? Well, you know what? Okay, they're not making it look bad. The people that are causing chaos in those protests, those are the ones that are making the cause look bad. But for the most part, me personally, when I go to those protests, it's always chanting, it's always cool, it's always relaxed, it's always, you know, doing it, protesting correctly, just voicing your opinion and expressing yourself to the government, as everybody's American right is. We got a reality check about putting our trust on presidents. Yep. Let's see. Texas Gunner says, we are thinking of our American people and our children. We don't vote for us. Hmm. Let's see. Pita says, I never heard Tony tell us to vote for Trump. He said things that weren't as bad when Trump was president. Okay, Tony Baylor says, all bad. Yes, sir. Let's see. All right. Texas Gunner says, my taxes went up during the Obama run and went back down during Trump and went back up during Biden. Now just waiting for the big beautiful bill to be active and have more money. Well, I hope that does happen. But you know what? The thing about that big beautiful bill is that it comes with a lot of things that are going to affect our economy. For the most part, the biggest thing that's going to affect our economy is going to be automation, and in that bill, automation plays a very big part as far as how that bill is going to work, because a lot of companies were not allowed to use automation because of state laws. But now that Trump has officially gave the approval federally, that means a lot of these companies are going to be able to use automation to replace human workers. So aside from federal workers losing their job, because workers are losing their job, mostly because of that big beautiful bill that allows companies like Elon Musk's company, AI company. Most recently, I heard in the news that his AI company got the government contract to replace human. What do you call them? Like customer service in a sense. So Elon Musk's AI system is going to replace. I guess I don't know if you would call it customer service, but though there it's going to replace a lot of human jobs in the federal government. Let's see. Why weren't there any Asian in those protests? For the most part, I saw blacks in those protests, and I would say I definitely saw Asians and I saw whites. Though they're there, and for whatever reason you don't see them. I mean, because for the most part, I don't know. I think when you see pictures or videos, they're usually more focused on our people. But I mean, there's this guy that doesn't like us that was there. He's black. He goes by the name of Trap News. I don't know if he was there to support, but he was definitely in the mix. Lada says he accomplished nothing but getting a Fed charge. Hmm. All right, Tony Bauer says, I just think had Kamala been voted in, we would have gotten nuked because her mouth, her mouth, mouth a lot off world leaders when won't let, sorry, I'm messing up reading. World leaders won't let her speak crazy to them. They will press the end button and on us for her mouthing off on them. You know what? She did you're right. And she was very war hungry. That lady, I think we would have been more wars had she won. But this is why I always tell people vote third party. Stop voting Republican or Democrat. Lada says human beings are being phased out. It's just economically more advantageous for business. You're correct. You're 100% correct. It is because right here in the harbor area, a lot of the ports already have automation. They just haven't been allowed to use any of their automation because of state laws that prevented them from using it. But now that the federal government is giving the approval. Now the corporations can say, "Well, the Fed said that we could do it, so we're going to do it." So that's going to be an interesting event when they announce that they're going to start phasing out human harbor workers or what do you call it, longshoremen when they start losing their jobs. Let's see. Lottie says, "I've been my own cashier for over 10 years and no paycheck." God dang. Let's see. The boomers are going to lose it if they don't know how to use a smartphone or laptop with AI. No, you're right. You're definitely right. No, no, no blacks were all sticking together. Say it wasn't their fight. I want to say that's like a handful of them that are doing that. Bipolar Chipmunk, yes, Rich Grinder was there. Hey, Norris, did you know America's brother is a PDF file and defends him? No, 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 no. We had a conversation about it because I actually do talk to Nino America, and he did mention that he doesn't talk to his direct family, meaning his parents or his siblings, for that actual reason that you mentioned right there, and which is one of the reasons why he's so when he hears stories like that, he really goes hard as far as like I guess you would say exposing because it really affected him closely, personally. Apparently, yeah, that's what his brother. I don't know if he said that, but his brother is currently in jail for that very reason. And I mean, I can see why he goes after those kinds of situations. Texas Gunner says most third parties are made to support either Dems or Republican. And you know what? I think I want to say that's one of those things that both sides like to say. Don't vote for them because it's just a vote for them, you know. But for the most part, look, for me, I vote third party. So I can say I have no I have no what's the word? I have no skin in the game because for the most part I didn't vote for either side. I vote third party, and I guess you could call it a socialist party, but it's not really called a socialist party. Gubby AC says dodged a big bullet, thank God Trump won. Let's see. Tony says the Nino Brown. I don't think he black on the real, not even a little bit. No, he's not black. As far he's told me that his family is as far as he knows, he's like 3 or 4 generations back Native American, like from that area. I want to say he knows what tribe he belongs to, but for the most part, he does acknowledge that he is Native American. Mundo Vision Media talked about Nino America. Brother being PDA. Well, you know what? That's one thing that Nino actually admits to. As far as I can tell, he admits to that, and then which is why he dislikes anyone that might be anything to do with that. Let's see. P Dub says, "How much money do I have to raise to get a Taco Bell tattoo from Mars on camera?" Hey, if you're down, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll do it. Gavin Newscomb is crazy to think he's gonna be out in our next president. Hell no, Tony, you're right, man. I do not like Gavin Newsom, and I dislike the fact that he's using our culture as far as to get some sort of likes, if you may, from our community. He's exploiting the fact that we're very anti-Trump right now, and he's trying to incorporate himself into our culture by fucking making tortillas on fucking news outlets. What's the word on Purple Crown and rank after people's names? I didn't get the memo. Purple Crown? Oh, you know what? I think that's for you know what? I keep forgetting what that thing's for, but apparently you get XPs or something like that. But I gotta look into what exactly that's for. It says if Nino dislikes PDF, why is he defending Trump? Nino can't be that dumb and see the writing on the wall. That's and you know what? That right there is a very good question because that is very factual. So, I haven't seen him go live much right now. I haven't seen him really be as active as he normally is. I mean, he might be in a situation where he's really trying to figure out, like what's his escape plan as far as like, oh shit, I I helped vote in a PDF because I mean the Washington no wait no the Wall Street Journal is really going at it with Trump right now by posting that talking about that letter that he wrote to Epstein. And not only that, but now outing the DOJ, Department of Justice, as already advising Trump that he is mentioned in the Epstein files. Um, and one thing that people say that is you got to consider. You know, Trump announced that he's going to sue the Wall Street Journal for like $1 billion, right? Why hasn't he tried to sue Elon Musk for saying that he's on the list, for saying that Trump is on the list? He put it for more. I'm pretty sure more people saw that tweet from Elon Musk than people know about the story on the Wall Street Journal. Lottie says Gavin is an out of touch moron. He comes from rich parents and is married to rich. Yeah, no, you're right. Facts on that one. He never worked for anything. Like, nope. Outright Dog song East LA by Will.i.am. Yeah, that song right there. You guys gotta check that song and hit a like on that one. Let's see. Bipolar Chigma said a lot of white people are white nationalists. You know what? And that's the thing. If you go to like my If you go to my Instagram, Nobi underscore lightning, I posted a reel right there that shows these five people on Fox on the Fox News channel where they just accepted the fact that people call them Nazis and people and recognize them as Nazis, and they just say, you know what? Yeah, that's for the most part. If they're gonna call me that, I'll take it. And that they're calling each other Nazis in the whole in the in the show. I was shocked. I was like, wow, even some lady, and they were trying to say that, you know what, that should be their N word, and they should own it like the blacks. I was like, what the hell? That tripped me out. I was like, wow, I gotta post this. Like, this is crazy that they're really thinking like this. That they're really trying to do some shit like that. Let's see. The Red Cat says Trump has never been convicted or even accused of that. Saying that is just ignorant. You know what, Lattice? For the most part, you're right. He has not been convicted or now accused. Well, I guess technically you would be right. He hasn't been accused. I mean, as far as I know, we only have a letter that the Wall Street Journal confirms that is real. And we also have the Wall Street Journal also put out that the Department of Justice did advise or notified Trump that he is on the Epstein file. How he's in that file and what manner, that's the part we want to find out. I mean, today, as far as I know, today, uh, committee is pushing for the administration or the Department of Justice to release the court documents again. I don't know if that's going to happen, but a lot of MAGA people are white nationalists. If JD Vance replaces Trump, their president will be married to an Indian. That is wild. People should just be careful with words that they have heavy accusations. For the most part, you're right. And you know what? And the Wall Street Journal is risking $1 billion for what they said. Well, so what they're suggesting that Trump is involved. So it's going to be interesting to see if that court case ever comes to fruition. If Trump ever does take them to court, because as far as I know, Trump has only said he's going to sue them for $1 billion. I haven't seen an actual court case or a court date for that. So that's going to be interesting to see if it actually happens. I just hope Trump ain't mess with kids. He can have all the grown hookers. For the most part, Tony, you are correct about that. Let's see. Lattice did say probably because it wouldn't be put unwanted attention on some of the Dems' biggest names. I definitely did believe that Dems are in there. Dems are definitely in there. Guppy says, why didn't Dems bring up Epstein list when Trump was running? Well, that's a very good question right there. I truly do believe we have Republicans and Dems in that list for the most part. Uh, let's see. Guppy says Wall Street Journal is going to lose like CBS. Well, that they'll probably. Guppy, look like you and Lattice are in the same mindset because he said the exact same thing. They'll probably settle like CBS did. So that's gonna be interesting. But I don't know. This I well, you know what? Actually, guys, if you could tell me what exactly CBS said to get sued by Trump, that would be great. So if you could put that in the chat. Bipolar Chickman says Epstein had a ranch in New Mexico called Zorro Ranch. Very base seductive base where there's a lot of alien. Oh, really? I did not know that. Let's see. He also said mainstream media like Wall Street Journal and CBS is for boomers. Everybody online to get their news. Well, you're right about that. You're right about that. Marvelous Mind says, laughing my ass off. Shout out to Marvelous Inc. in the chat. But for the most part, yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen with those cases. I mean, that's one thing that's happening right now. Okay, Lattice says the reporter from CBS called him a rapist over and over. Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy. Yeah, yeah, that's understandably why he would sue them for that one. Damn, 16 mil, huh? Yeah, that's a lot of money right there. Holy crap. Well, it kind of really says a lot right there. Now, is that CBS like nationally, or that was that like a local CBS? I'm wondering. I don't. I know. I'm not too sure what the difference is, but I'm sure one of them is like nationwide, and then one of them is just some of them are just local channels. But as far as I can tell, yeah, that's gonna be bad. Whatever happens with that case, it's gonna be interesting where it goes. That's for sure. That is for sure. Oh, it was national. Oh wow. Yeah, yeah, CBS fucked up on that one for letting them say that on there without any actual proof. They really fucked up on that one. All right, so we got about 20, over 20 people in here, so I'm gonna start talking about Dubs and Gunner. Uh, you know, they did each of them did their own videos to talk about me. They brought no respect to Hollywood. Yeah, 16 in their space. 16 mil in their space? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so for the most part, they both made videos of me. They put my picture up there. I think we all, some of you probably seen which pictures. I think that they wanted to poke fun at me. They wanted to make a statement, like how can somebody like this talk about us, right? Well, like I said before, for the most part, the majority of my rant wasn't really dedicated to them. It was dedicated to these podcasters that invited a lot of these, I guess you would call them rich influencers that were RAZA, that would talk a lot of shit about the protesters. Those words were directed at those individuals, not Dubs and Gunner. Because, like I said, I don't watch them enough to know what they tell their audience. When I did check what they talked about to their audience, when they did those videos about me, I did find out that a lot of their viewers are conservative. I mean, America would love to be part of that live chat in Dubs and Gunner. I really didn't know that they had such a conservative audience. I don't know why. For some reason, I was thinking more like Democrats, liberals, socialists, but no, those guys actually have very Republican people in their chat and in their comments. So I guess I could say that they didn't really have to push the message that they should vote for Trump, because as far as I can tell, they were already on board with Trump. Raider Rich, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Red Dog, Will I Am Taboo E said late song. Yes. A great, incredible song. And that's the thing. As far as I can tell, Dubs and Gunner are Republicans, and that's all right. I have nothing against Republicans. If you want to be Republican, that's fine. Everybody has a right to vote whatever way they want. That's why it's America. It wouldn't be America if you didn't have the choice to vote. And I'm not gonna tell them they did wrong, because for the most part, like they could definitely say they didn't know things were gonna go this way. I could definitely say that I knew it was gonna go this way. And I could definitely say that Republicans knew it was gonna go this way. And my best example here would be individual like Nino America. Nino America would go on and say, I knew all of this was going to happen. This is why I voted for Trump, because I knew this was going to happen. He admits that from the get-go he knew Trump was going to behave in this way. That's why he's happy with the way Trump is behaving and what in the policies he's pushing. So that tells me, if I knew what Trump was going to do and America knew what he was going to do, that tells me that for the most part, most Republicans knew this was going to happen. Somewhere in the back of their head, this was going to happen. Because I remember I even told I told Chicano to in one of these podcasts that I did with them. It's gonna come to a point where so ICE is gonna knock on your door and take your family, and they're not gonna ask if you're citizens. They're just gonna take them because they have the right to take them. Like, what are you gonna do when that happens? And for the most part, that's been happening. What I said has has happened. ICE have come to gone into places without warrants and actually taken people. They have broken windows of cars to drag the people out of their cars without warrant or without what's the word, reasonable cause or reasonable. I forget the word for it. Chris from Arizona, thank you very much for that, man. Appreciate you. Hey, his bipolar Shima says, "Hey, Norbis, you need to interview WAG 100 and get him to crash out on the bipolar chip." Right? Let's see, Cassie, never go back to Waka. You know what? I will, man. I will because I love it there. But that place is too peaceful. When you grow up in a city where you grow up listening to gunshots, to fireworks, to cop cars, to helicopters, to helicopter cop, talking on the streets from up there, the noise, and you go to a place like Oaxaca, it's very quiet, very peaceful, very calm, and yeah, I don't know about you guys, but for me, that it feels weird. It feels weird when it's too quiet, and it actually makes me paranoid. It makes me paranoid when it's too quiet. I don't know if you guys are like that. If you guys are like in a really quiet space, but it makes me like nervous. Like is it quiet because something's gonna happen? But maybe that's just me, or maybe that's just growing up in LA, man. LA is a very chaotic. Well, it was a very chaotic place. Not so, thankfully, not so much anymore. But it's still chaotic, but not as much as it was back then. Let's see. They said Chris from Arizona says they've taken kids from Head Start and schools. I believe that. Let's see. Bipolar Chingman says Stephen Miller got punked by SM3 and the Graveyard Crib when he went to Santa Monica High. Hmm. Let's see. Lada says, show the people of Oaxaca how to do Santa Fe Swami chicken. Hey, you know what, Lada? From what I hear, those people that are doing those dances, that's actually in Texas. Now I gotta do research because from what I hear, those people are actually in Texas. The ones that are like them. Good evening, Lisa Duran. Appreciate you for coming by. But as far as I know, some of those dancers are definitely are Texans. And I kind of believe that because I don't see anybody busting moves like that out here. And in Texas, you guys have those kinds of dances. You guys had like those what do you call it? Those cowboy dances, and they get down like that. But anyway, getting back to the subject about Dominic Gunner. Not Here's the thing about them, they all, even though they were talking smack, like, oh, who's this guy? He's a nobody, and well, for the most part, I'm okay being the nobody. That's fine. I am very happy being at the bottom of the totem pole because apparently these guys see themselves as a hierarchy in this YouTube world, and someone as such as myself is not at the same level as they are, and for the most part, I could definitely say, as far as subscribers, there definitely be me there. As far as how much time and effort they put into their channel, they definitely be me there. I'm definitely not at that level as they are. I don't have that kind of time to be on here every day in the morning and the evening. I mean, but and for the most part, yeah, they have that on top of me. So I mean, for them to say I'm a nobody, yeah, I would take that because I don't put as much work into my own channel as they do. I mean, those guys go at it pretty hard, but for the most part, I may be a nobody, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna keep my mouth shut either. Let's see. Man, you guys are really going at it in the chats. But Jacob, what's up, Jacob? So when Dubs and Gunner and it seems like they talked to each other as far as how they were gonna approach this situation with Norby's myself. They wanted to point out how they defended me, and for the most part, they did make videos that did I guess you would say speak on my behalf. Mind you, I never asked them to do that for me. At the same time, they did throw a lot of low key jabs at me at the same time. uh, I'm sure for them they must have not seen it that way, but I you could definitely hear the jokes behind it. And for the most part, I don't really care what they think about me. Even now I don't care what they think about me. They can say I'm a nobody. I'm definitely I'll sleep okay at night knowing that they feel that way about me. And and actually, for me, it's a little funny that these two individuals would go out of their way and make two videos about me. And like I said, much appreciation for them somewhat standing up for me. But I could do that by myself. And I don't need them for do that. And as far as them, trying to insult me, that doesn't really bother me. I mean, as many as you guys know, it's very hard to troll me, because as much as you want to try, I mean, you look at American Troll. Like he's been really trying to troll me for the last few weeks. I don't know what kind of response he wants from me, but all I know is I live rent free in his head, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with me being in his mind every single day that he goes inside his studio. He sees me. And then for the most part, I didn't have to pay for that. That's that's just me living in his head. Let's see. But for the most part, let's see. Let's see. What did you say? Bipolar Chickman says, "Hey Norby's Chemo Flakes always makes fun of Dubs and Runner. I think Chemo is some guy on disability since he always has too much time to monitor them both." Oh yeah, for the most part, yeah. If you're gonna keep that much tabs on them, yeah, you're definitely you definitely got a lot of time. And the one thing about that chemo guy, which is interesting, you know, I always wonder why he chose as his avatar, he chose the one character that in the movie gets sodomized. It says a lot when you choose, certain avatars to represent you. And he chose a character that grew up hard, and for the most part in the movie they made it seem that he was sodomized, you know, by an inmate with him. So it tells me that this chemo guy, somewhere there might be like a gay guy hiding there, because for him to choose the avatar of a guy that got butt plugged, it says a lot. It says a lot when what type of avatar you choose to represent you. Me, I choose myself. But the chemo guy, he chose the one gangster character that you know in the movie he gets sodomized. And if you guys don't know what sodomized means, that means getting it through the back hole. So it tells me that this guy, well, aside, you're right. He does have a lot of time, and he might be homosexual in nature. And who knows? He might be the chipmunk himself, because honestly, he is a little gay, or he is very gay. If anything, America needs to be supported. I don't think that's ever gonna happen, because it seems to me he works with the feds, or he works with law enforcement for sure. He's working with law enforcement somehow, some way, because it's a little odd that this guy has gets interviewed with so many law enforcement, and nobody bats an eye. It's a trip. All these people that say, "Oh, we don't mess with the police. Oh, we don't talk to police," but here they are watching this guy that literally talks to them. Not only talks to them, but calls them. That's why I always think it's funny that this guy makes videos about me saying that I called the cops. Where and the situation plays out exactly. You see the video of him actually calling the cops, and between me asking. See, in my situation, there was an old lady just like his situation. But except in my situation, I asked the old lady, should I or should I not? And obviously I didn't, but I asked, should I or should I not? Where in his video of him with an old lady, he tells the old lady to call the cops. And that's the big difference right there. Where it's funny that his audience would go out and I don't know. And then again, I'm pretty sure some of these trolls are some of these pages that try to say, "Oh, you're the poli caller." I'm like, that's kind of weird that you would say that about me, but there's videos of this guy literally asking a lady to call the cops for him. Where I thought that was funny, but for the most part, people pick and choose what they want to hear, I guess. But I thought that was funny. Let's see. AZ guy's house raided in 2018 by LAPD and he became a rat. Well, I wouldn't be surprised about that. Let's see. Lada says, as the Christians say, love the call, fool, hate the sin. RBC. And Tony here says, you honestly could have called your a regular person who came to talk in a public space. He had no right touching you. For the most part, you're right. And this was a guy that continuously promotes we're grown men here and have grown man conversation. Clearly, he was not a grown man that day. He was a child, if anything, a very emotional child at that. I see can that that would be funny. Now it wouldn't be funny if he kidnapped one, but anyways, we're getting off topic. So going back to Dubs and Gunner, and I did put in the title that they owe RAZA an apology, and I say this because I saw their videos about me, and I noticed that the one thing they both tend to push is that they're telling their audience like, look, I or anybody that was coming at them, for their vote. For the most part, when it came down to like deportation, they both told their audience, I don't know why you guys are upset. This happens every day. This is normal that people get deported. That's the normal thing. You shouldn't be getting upset. That's just how that's how it's always been. And for the most part, yeah, you know what? They're right. They are right that that does happen normally. But the only difference between that normal and now is that, that normal had due process. There was an investigation, there was a case, there was research, and there was paperwork to which is due process, which would allow them to arrest an individual and deport them. But these ICE raids were not that. These ICE raids, and they've always been like that. They've always been when every time they do them, it's always been like that. If you're brown, arrest them and then ask questions later, which it's extremely for my take is extremely racist. Because anyone like me or my relatives or you guys that are brown like me, could potentially be arrested. And then that's very worse. That's very bothersome for the most part because it's not right. People shouldn't uh people shouldn't be deported based off the skin color. Lisa Duran, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you. Much love to you. And let's see. Imagine. And going again, because I keep getting off topic, but for the most part, that was happening where our people were getting stopped. It's not. It's our people. They are our people for the most part. But they were also, arresting citizens that are our people, and that was a turning point because before, not too there wasn't too much support as far as protesting for, to stop the raids. But as soon as like three U.S. citizens and then four and then five U.S. citizens started getting arrested by ICE, because either they didn't have ID or because they were just brown. They just looked the part. The protest started to grow, and the support started to grow, and because for the most part, a lot of brown citizens realized, oh shit, these motherfuckers could actually arrest me and detain me for like almost a month if I don't have my ID. And it sucks the fact that you're a brown person now knowing that you better make sure you have your ID, because if you don't have your ID, they're gonna take you in, regardless if you tell them that you were born in the US and you are a US citizen. And that is a reality for the most part. And this is why I say Dubs and Gunner owe an apology, because so that's it, because no, what's happening now is not a regular thing. And I say it's not a regular thing because the mayor of LA, Mayor Bass, was successful as far as getting a restraining order against ICE, because there was enough evidence to prove that ICE was racially profiling people as far as who they arrested and who they detained. Because in court, if you don't have evidence, you're not going to win your case and you're not going to get the restraining order. So a judge looked at the evidence, looked at the research, and saw that, yeah, you know what, there's enough proof here that ICE was racially profiling people. And for the most part, this is why I tell them. This is why I would say Dubs and Gunner do owe an apology, because this is not a regular, deportation. These are not regular deportation. This is based off of skin color. This is based off of their people, and for them to just nonchalant say, "Hey, it's normal. You guys shouldn't be crying about deportation. This is a normal thing." No, no, it's not a normal thing. Not the way it's happening. A normal thing is due process, where they make a case, they file it, it gets approved, they get their warrant, and they make their arrest, and then they deport. That's due process. Now they're just grabbing our people, checking if they're here or not, and checking if they didn't break a law. I mean, they're catching them before they do any of the research, before they build a case. For the most part, any case, you got to build it up. You just can't arrest somebody just because you have a hunch, or just because you have, and yeah, basically just because you have a hunch doesn't give you the right to arrest people. You need evidence. These are how our cases are built. It's the law. But for Gunner and Dubs to say that this is a normal thing, no, it's not a normal thing. This isn't nothing normal. There's nothing normal about this. If anything, this is an attack on their people. And I found it offensive that they would suggest that this is normal, and people should be okay with it. But it's not normal, and people shouldn't be okay with it, because it's injustice to arrest somebody just because they're brown. Like, and that's why a lot of people were on board. Okay, arrest the criminals, because if they're actual criminals, like they actually broke hard laws, arrest them, because they because of the laws they broke, and they shouldn't have the privilege to be in this country because they've done wrong. And for the most part, that's what they were doing in the beginning. That's why nobody batted an eye, nobody was complaining, because for the most part, they did have cases, they did have files, they did have evidence, and that they did the arrest, and then nobody was complaining. But as soon as they started grabbing people out of parking lots, out of grocery stores, out of gyms, just grabbing people, that's when they became a problem, because they were no longer doing the process of of having a case against somebody. They were just grabbing people and then figuring it out afterwards. So for the most part, when I say Gunner and Dubs owe an apology, I mean to the RAZA, because for the most part they downplayed it, and they're trying to downplay it, and it's not right. It's not right that they downplay it that way, because these are real people, you know. As much as, you know, yeah, you could say they broke the law, that they shouldn't be here, they came in here illegally, but at the same time, you know, you gotta understand. I mean, for me, and this is my thoughts, my opinion. These are people. These are humans. These are people that built a life. They have children. They built a life. They are part of their communities. They pay taxes. And for somebody to just say, "Hey, it's normal, guys. Don't be too bothered by them getting deported like that." Oh, of course we're gonna be bothered, because they did things right. You know, like, what is it any of my business what they do with their money? You know, because I know that a lot of people are saying, oh, well, they're spending money on cars and trucks and quinceañeras and shit like that. Well, like, look what's good. Well, okay, well, somebody got paid. People, businesses made money. Taxes got paid. You're gonna tell me why didn't they get their pays? Well, at least a fellow citizen made money. Somebody made money. You know. They were contributing. A dealership made money off of those cars that they bought. You know, the state made money from registration. You know, insurance companies made money from it for to get those cars insured. For the most part, they were part of the system. You know, but they are human. That, after all, that's the important part. When we start losing our humanity and our compassion towards fellow man, and you know, it's not compassion towards fellow U.S. citizens. It's always going to be compassion towards fellow man. You know, because when do we put our humanity aside and say, well, it's the law? You know, for the most part, we can't put everybody on the same boat and say all of them are bad, get them all out. No, no, we can't say that, because you know especially to the ones that have contributed to our economy, to our system, to our lives. You know, and that was my only grief that I had with Dubs and Gunner, that they would say something like that. They would say, "Hey, it's a normal thing, guys. Don't you know? Don't get your panties in a bunch." But for the most part, that's the message that I want, because they did say, you know what, I'm gonna call out Norbies. I'm calling him out to respond. Well, there's my response, guys. My response to both of you is that, you know, recognize the situation for what it is. Your people are being targeted for their skin color, and they're being arrested without cause, and you know, they're only being arrested because, you know, again, because of their skin color, and that's wrong. Lottie says, we can if they're Haitian immigrants. Those people are all bad. I've seen those videos you've been posting, Lattice. I mean, that's very scary that some Haitian people are doing those things. But let's see. Tony says, I agree. They are human, but they come here and clog the ER up, and the doctors and hospitals don't get paid. You know, for the most part, Tony, and that's the thing. Also, from what I hear, those ERs are not getting clogged up anymore, and because of everything that's happening. But here's the kicker about this. Those hospitals now, and from what I hear, those hospitals are now warning their employees, the nurses, the workers, that they're going to have to cut hours. They're gonna have to cut hours. They're gonna have to skip any kind of raises this year, for the most part, because when after all this started happening, a lot of these patients stopped coming. A lot of emergency room. A lot of people stopped going to the emergency room. So it's a domino effect for the most part now, because now that these people that would normally go to the hospitals are no longer going to the hospitals. So if they don't go to the hospitals don't get make money. And I think it's, for the most part, we all know that Marlon says, "Oh, you need to apologize for dropping my call." Okay, you know what, Marlon? I will apologize for that. But that's the ass fault. I'm still sticking to it. But for the most part, it's a domino effect, people. It's a domino effect because of what's happening with that situation with immigration. A lot of these hospitals, which again, I say a lot of these hospitals are businesses, they're corporations. They need to make money. If they don't have patients, they can't make money. And if they can't make money, they can't pay their employees. And for the most part, the hospitals have a lot of employees, and they pay them very, very well. And from what I hear, a lot of these hospitals are telling their workers that there's going to be cuts. There's going to be cuts this year, and they're probably going to be cuts next year. So, in that aspect, you could see what kind of impact they did to for hospitals. You know, I mean, there's a possibility where if they don't get enough patients to come in, they might not even open. They might not even open. Some hospitals might have to close for the fact that they are not getting any money from the government anymore for these patients because they just grew too big, and the cost is just too much for to pay employees, to pay for insurance, you know. And these are the effects that are happening as far as the hospitals. I mean, yeah, they're not clogging up the emergency rooms anymore, and they're not going to their appointments anymore. But now we're in a situation where all these years, these nurses have been, protesting for raises and better benefits. But now if they don't have any patients, how is the hospital going to make money? And if the hospital aren't going to make money, then where are these nurses going to go? Because they're not going to be able to work there because the hospitals are going to either cut their hours more or they're going to have to let them go. Because if the people that were going there aren't going there anymore, where are we going to be at? So it's a very tough situation. Let's see. No, if I was illegal, I would max out my credit card and send it overseas. That would be good. Let's see. Let's see. What did Guppy say? I want to see what Guppy said. What did you say to upset others? I had an illegal neighbor who brought their pregnant sister here for free medical care and the childbirth, then went back across the line so they didn't have to pay the bills. Damn. Well, Guppy, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do that. I mean, man, you see, in that kind of situation, it sucks because obviously, they're not paying their bill. But here's the thing that it sucks because the fact that healthcare, we supposedly live in the greatest country and greatest nation in the world, right? But we can't help our sick for free. We got to charge them. Either we charge them or we, the taxpayer, pays to take care of them. And for the most part, I could see why Guppy you'd be upset that they would use the system in that way. And for the most part, I mean, let me ask you this, Guppy. If a senior citizen, American senior citizen, was homeless and needed care, would you still complain that they got free health care? Would anyone here complain that they got free health care? Because I tell you this much, especially here in California, Social Security is not enough to cover any kind of medical insurance, rent, or food. I mean, that's why we have a lot of senior homeless people here in California because they just cannot live off of Social Security. And I know anyone could say that well, they should have made a retirement plan. And yeah, for the most part, you'd probably be right. They should have. We should all make retirement plans because we just don't know how long we will be able to work, and we we do know one thing: we don't want to end up in the streets when we're old and not able to work anymore. But Guppy, let me ask you: would you be upset if you knew a senior citizen, and mind you, an American senior citizen, got free healthcare? I mean, for the most part, and this is my own personal opinion, my own thoughts, that I don't believe healthcare should be something that citizens, anyone, actually anybody in the world should pay for, because I mean, is taking care of our fellow men really costly like that? Do we really have to put a price on? I mean, I know doctors need to get paid. I know nurses got to get paid. Technicians need to get paid. Everyone needs to get paid, of course. But this is what I'm saying. Look, we pay so much in taxes as far as a nation. How do, and mind you, I think before 1940, the majority of the hospitals were run by the government. It was actually free for people to get help medically. Well, not free, because obviously the taxpayers put into making sure doctors got paid, nurses got paid, and technicians got paid. But it is tough for me, you know. If I could, and I know people are gonna say it's socialism, that everybody should have free healthcare. But for honestly speaking, I really wish everyone did have free healthcare. That people didn't have to worry about, you know, either living with that big lump on their arm, or or going to the hospital to cut off an ugly mole. I really, people shouldn't have to worry about paying that bill. Mara says, no, we shouldn't make retirement plans. We should realize who we are and take our land back and stop living under Rome. Well, you know what, Marlon, for the most part, yeah, that would be nice if we all got our land back. And and this is what I say, if there ever was a time where we would get all this, and and it will come, it will happen, where we get everything back. And I tell you how that's gonna happen. I've been saying this for a few months, a lot of months now, or our babies. We gotta have more babies. Let's see. Last year's numbers showed that RAZA had almost 4 million babies last year. Almost 4 million babies last year. That's incredible. And the whites, they had about minus 400,000, meaning that they had less babies than they had the year before. They had 400, almost 400, more than 400,000 babies less than the year before. That is insane. That just tells you how far their uh their population has dropped, or it's going to drop. I mean, in the next 20 years, twenty years, imagine those 4 million babies, almost 4 million babies that are RASA, they're going to be 20 years old. And there's going to be a lot of whites missing at the same time. And when that happens, that's when there's not going to be any other choice but to hand over the properties, hand over the system, because we will most definitely and obviously be the overall majority of every ethnicity in this land. And I mean, we already are the largest ethnicity of all this land, because mind you, we spread from Mexico to Canada. Not only that, and that's just one continent. We've spread from Chile all the way to Canada, put it that way. We covered two giant land masses of our people. And for the most part, we're waking up. It is the great awakening. And I truly do believe that the more we wake up and the more we take back these countries, the better this land will be. Because look, people, you got to think about it. How you got to ask yourself, how did these Europeans take over so much of this land? We already know about we already know North America. We already know that the US was taken by, by the English, and then afterwards the Romans, and they took over Canada was taken over by the French and the English. Mexico was taken over by the Spanish, some French, and even some German. So we know they took those parts, but we what we don't look into is how they took Central America, because for the most part, the people that were controlling Central America was Spanish people, and then you have South America. You have South America that was taken over by by the Spanish, by the Portugal, and by the Germans at certain areas. So you really got to ask yourself, how did such a small population take over so many countries? And how have they been maintaining their power over these countries? And for the most part, it is all due to the U.S. The U.S. has done a great job at destabilizing their systems, destabilizing their government, destabilizing their economy. Because it would be bad business if those countries rose up and started having proper a proper economy. ACP chemistry, what up, man? Good to see you back. I hope you caught a fish. So for the most part, we will be getting our land back. We will be getting everything back. Not right now. I don't think now, and I don't think we're gonna have to do any type of war where people are sacrificed. For the most part, I think we're just gonna get it all back by default because especially here in the United States, we will have the majority of the population. That's why I told Nino America, look, I'm not worried about because Nino America likes to say, well, you people, you guys got conquered, so it's not yours anymore. I'm like, well, we didn't get conquered. We just agreed to let you guys to let them run the show. We didn't get conquered, you know. But I would say the East Coast definitely got obliterated. They got completely genocide over there on the East Coast, and then, for the most part, that's why so many of the tribes that were there a long time ago no longer exist because they were genocide. And that's the one thing Nino America definitely tends to shy away from when when I tell him, look, well, how do you explain the genocides that happened? Because he knows, damn sure he knows that those tribes were genocide. And as to that part, he really has nothing to say about that. Yeah, he that's why he always goes back to the, well, Mexico sold those lands to the U.S. All right, some idiots sold that land. That doesn't mean that idiot had the right to sell that land either. So shout out to Tony Lakota boy. All right. Let's see. Bipolar Chipmunk says, if you look at the fertility map of the world, the only places having kids are sub-Saharan Africa and Islamic countries. Yeah, yeah. Brown people and black people. And that's why I said, it's a balancing of nature, I would say. ACP Chemistry says that's because Mexican government is a masquerade for imperialism. Zapata and Pancho Villa no lid to form a new government written in paper. Wait. That's because Mexican government is a masquerade for imperialism. Zapata and Pancho Villa no lived to form. Oh, didn't live to form a new government written in paper. And you know what? For the most part, yeah, you're right. They were the last ones that try to make a difference because before that even happened, ACP chemistry, you know, Porfirio Diaz was the president around that time, if I'm correct. And Porfirio Diaz was one of the most corrupt presidents that Mexico ever had. Some would even say he was, you could definitely call him the king of Mexico because he has the amount of time that he was president in Mexico, he pretty much might have well been the king because he kept being king for so long. I mean, I think he was the president for like, and I could be wrong at this. So you guys could fact check me, but as far as I know, Porfirio Diaz was president for about 16 years in Mexico, and then that's a long ass time to be a president. But before Porfirio Diaz was Benito Juarez, and Benito Juarez was, and this is the one thing about Mexico that I love is that Benito Juarez was indigenous. He was an indigenous president of Mexico. Zapata was president for one day. Oh, really, Elisa? All right. Yeah, the whole Zapata story as how he was executed was very disappointing. The one time he decided to trust somebody, that was the day that they killed him, and that sucked. I know I work for my money and pay taxes, so Zapata, you can be salty all you want. Let's see. Let's see. Porfirio Diaz used to powder his face to look white. Did he really? Necio, is that a fact? Let me know. Zapata is just brainwashed. But yeah, like I was saying, we're slowly but surely getting back our lands. We're slowly getting back what was rightfully belongs to, because these lands do rightfully belong to us. They were and again, I want to say we were born of this land. I know a lot of people want to say we came across a land bridge. If you look at the people at Alaska, those people definitely came on a land bridge. That I have no doubt in my mind. If you look at those people in Alaska, those tribes, those people are definitely Korean in nature. I would definitely say they have Korean lineage in them. But for the most part, every single native from Chile all the way up to Canada, no, no, no. They are 100% of this land, born of this land, came from this land. I always find it funny that they would say, they crossed the land bridge, they're all Asian. No, we're not Asian. And I find it funny that Chinky Eyes is only exclusive to Asia for some reason. Like, no, if you have Chinky Eyes, you have to be Asian. No, no, you don't. That's like the dumbest argument you could say. Just because you have Chinky Eyes, that means you're automatically Asian. It's ridiculous. That's like saying if you have curly hair, you're black because they have curly hair. That doesn't make sense. Above the cloud says, "Que te voy a estar creyendo, Norvis." Well, that's the best part. You don't. But this is just my opinion, my thoughts. I mean, you know what? And I totally forget I was gonna do this too. Okay, look, guys. All right, guys. So, where did it didn't go through? All right, there it is. All right, guys. For the most part, right there, that's the link right there, guys. If any of you guys, because I keep forgetting to do this in the beginning of the show. If any of you guys want to jump in and talk about anything, any of the things that I talked about, or you want to make an argument towards what I've said, like jump in here. The class puro pedo Norbis. I'm fucking with you. Now I know, man. I know all of you guys are solid, but do you know what I love about you guys is that all of you guys are different in your own way. You guys are willing to talk about what you think, about what you feel, and and I'm happy that you guys are always able to express yourself, because I don't ever want to like make you think that you can't say what you want to say here. As long as you're respectful, obviously, because once you start cussing, that means you lost. When you start cussing and saying and start insulting, that means you are no longer capable of holding a a I guess you would say a debate, a friendly debate. Imagine, that would be interesting. But okay, guys, the links up there if any of you guys want to jump in, because like I always say, this channel is very much dedicated to the people, to you guys. And you guys have a say in here. You guys could jump in here, and if you feel I'm wrong or you feel that I'm right or you want to add to it, jump on here, talk. You don't have to show your face. You could just join and say your piece, give your thoughts, because a lot of things are happening right now, and I know there's a few of you that are okay with the deportation. And mind you, you're never gonna hear me say deportation is wrong. Okay, you're never gonna hear me say that is wrong, because obviously some people do need to get deported. As far as my people, I would definitely say this 100%. My people, my brown people, should have the right to live anywhere in these two continents. No if and buts. They should have the right to migrate in any part of these continents and then just work. Work. Remember, key word is work. Because they ain't doing shit here. They definitely shouldn't be here if they ain't doing shit here. Because if you ain't doing shit here, go back to where you came from and to go not do shit there. Because for the most part, and I do feel that if you're gonna come here and work. Build your family, build your life, build your community. I'm 100% for that. What I'm not for is that you come here to just take advantage of the system. And that I am agreement. I do not appreciate taking advantage of the system. And I don't appreciate it for the most part because like a lot of you guys, we pay taxes and we pay into these systems to make sure that when our fellow citizens are down, we're here to help them. But if you're gonna come here just to take advantage of the system that was built to help their fellow citizens, you shouldn't be here. You should be back in your country, not doing shit and figuring it out for over there. Because for the most part, I respect the fact that a lot of people here, even the ones that are undocumented, pay into the system to take care of citizens, take care of them when they're down. But for the most part, yeah. Again, like I said, you're not gonna hear me say I'm against deportation. I'm definitely for it, especially when it comes to like very bad criminals, people that really break the law, people that hurt people. Like those kinds of people should not be allowed to be here, because for the most part they're here to hurt people. Okay. I apologize, Mr. Nah, Norbis. The Fortune 500 execs make too much, and they cry about people getting EBT. And for the most part, you're right. Those kinds of, and again, that goes to the same thing about people that don't do shit. You have rich people that have too much shit and that are crying. When according to the tax system, they should be given a very big portion back to the system, because they are making huge gains from the people using the system. But they find ways to not have to pay. Like Trump said it himself. Hey, it's not my fault that the tax laws are the way they are. You can't get mad at me for taking advantage of it and making sure that I keep my money. If you have a problem with that, don't get mad at me. Get mad at the system, because it's the system that allows me to keep my money the way I keep it. And for the most part, he's right. It is the system that allows him to use it, exploit it, and keep as much of it as he can. We got Jedi in the house. Everybody give Jedi a round of applause. He is the other producer of this channel. Says you should be able to do whatever you want, work or not, make art. We have the technology to feed and house everyone. Focus on what's stopping them from being the norm. Mm. Very strong words, Jedi. Very strong words. And that's why I say, we supposedly live in the greatest country in the world, but we fail at doing these kinds of things. I mean, like I said, there are senior citizens that are homeless because even though they get their social security checks, they can't afford an apartment in California. They can't afford regular health insurance. They need these kinds of systems to be alive and to be healthy and to live somewhat a comfortable life. But I'll tell you this much: when I drive around and I see these food banks, the majority of the people at these food banks are senior citizens. And it breaks my heart to see, yeah, again, you could say that they should have made a retirement plan. They should have planned better. But we don't know their situation, and we don't know what they went through, or if they even had that choice at all. But it breaks my heart that that we're in the greatest country in the world, but we can't take care of them. These food banks, they're not they're from donors. you know That's where they go get their beans, their rice, their bread, things that they might not even have chosen for themselves, but they're left in a situation where they don't have any other choice but to take it. And like I said, that breaks my heart. Let's see. Man, you guys are really on it. See, Lara says Zapata just wants an argument look like. Let's see. HCP's chemistry says they pay off politicians. That's why lobbying. Yeah, you know what? For the most part, lobbying should be illegal. Guppy says, and why? And you in the wrong channel, nerd. Go to Europe and India, Africa. Zapata's on it. All right, bipolar. In Japan, there's a rule that the CEO cannot make more than 7 times the amount of the lowest employee. We need to implement the rule here as well. Wow, that is a crazy rule. And you know what? I am for that also. That sounds like a great plan. You know what I like about in Japan that they after work they all go and get loaded at the bars. In a way, it's kind of like mandatory that you go and get loaded. Tony says, Zapata, is your registration up to date? Do you have a license insurance on your car? Do you like driving cars illegally without all of those above stated? I don't, and because right here they stop you for if you're brown, so you got to make sure you have those things because either way you're gonna get stopped. Uh, Zapata says, Tony, this ain't an England guy. All right, guys, the link is over there, guys. If you guys want to jump in and say something that you want to express yourself. Okay, Flute Dude, we're gonna need some some a backstory towards your comment here. Blacks still live in mud huts. Are you talking about like in Africa? Because I think a lot of different parts of the world that people still live in mud huts. For the most part, mud huts tend to stay cool in hot environments. So mud huts are actually very good if you're living in a very hot area as far as staying keeping yourself cool. Americans, let's see. Tony says Americans come first, us hardworking citizens, not line cutters. And for the most part, yeah, I am in agreement with that. Citizens definitely should be taken care of first because, especially if they're senior citizens. Again, I say senior citizen. Again, I say senior citizens because that's something that I see a lot, and it breaks my heart seeing them, being there and in line waiting to get help. It sucks that they have to wait like hours just to get help. You know, man, you guys are really going at it at the chat. I gotta stop looking at this thing because I'm looking at my, I'm dumb because I'm looking at my phone screen when I could easily be looking at my actual monitor. Let's see. Somebody said, call in American Cholita. ACP says, you haven't even talked about the title of the video. I did, ACP. I already did. You were actually, I think that was the time you were fishing. And for the most part, I said Gunner and does owe the RAZA an apology because they really downplayed the deportation situation here, where they put it out there like it's a normal thing, like this happens every day, so people really shouldn't be feel offended or hurt that things like that are happening. And to that argument, I would definitely say they're wrong because it's not like a regular thing because a regular thing would involve due process. A regular thing would involve building up a case against individuals to prove that they have done illegal activities that would warrant an arrest warrant and deportation. This isn't happening with these raids. These raids are very much racist at heart because they are only attacking brown people. They're only targeting brown people. Browns skinned people. And as my evidence and my proof that this is true, what I'm saying is the fact that the mayor had her restraining order approved by a judge. And from what I know, it's a federal judge that approved the restraining order against ICE to stop these raids that are racially profiling us. Now, in a court, you need to prove, you need evidence to show that this is really happening. And for the fact that a judge agreed based off the evidence to grant them this restraining order only proves that ICE was indeed racially profiling us, whether we're citizens or not. So this isn't a normal thing, as Dubs and Gunner would say, or are pushing to their audience. This isn't a normal thing. This is a very bad thing. A lot of injustice is happening here for the fact that they're targeting us because we're brown. They're arresting us first without due process, without evidence, without an actual case against us, detaining us, and then figuring out if we broke a law or if we are citizens or not. And that isn't due process. And this is why ICE is completely violating constitutional rights by just arresting people and detaining people based off their skin color. Even the guy that's in charge of INS, I forgot his name, the borders are, even said that, we have a right to detain people based on how they look and how they talk. And for the most part, the majority of people that they're arresting and detaining are brown people. So that means they are targeting people that are brown, that dress like us, and that talk like us, which is very much racist and very much wrong. And this is why Doug and Gunner owe RAZA an apology, because they're telling their audience that this is okay, that this is normal. All these deportations are normal, but it's not. It's not normal. These good people have lives. They're humans. They have families. They're part of their community. They pay taxes. And for them to just nonchalant say that this is okay, this is normal. Don't get your panties in a bunch. This is normal. Just accept it. No, we shouldn't accept it because it's wrong how they're targeting us. And for them to say it's okay, that is an insult to our people, which is their people, because they are part of our community. They are part of our RAZA in a sense. But here they are telling us that we shouldn't feel some type of way that they're doing it this way. And that's wrong of them for them to say that, because it's 100% wrong how they're targeting us based of how we look, based on how we talk, based on what our skin color is. And if that wasn't true, the mayor of LA would not have been able to get that restraining order. So that is in HCB chemistry, to answer your question. That is what I had spoken to about earlier, as far as the my response to Gunner and Dubs. But let me go back to I went on another rant, so let me go back. Let's see, where was okay. Guppy says Zapata is a red dot Indian, but thinks he's American Indian. Lada says, when I get pulled over, I tell cops not to worry because I'm one of the good ones. The father said, all these house browns need the Everglades. Wow. Fluke Duke says, Zapata view is he's black to make it worse. Tony says Zapata shows how how McDonald's wife. Zapata, how's the McDonald's Wi-Fi? Is what he said. All Red Dog says USA just check it outside. What up? Zapata Vive says Guppy, you with your mayor. Okay, Bipolar says boomers make me angry. I can tell. Zapata says how to Anthony, or Tony says how's the weenie? Guppy AC laughing emojis. Bipolar chick, my boomer suck. But bipolar what? Viva Zapata Viva says, Fluke, yeah, a typical black colonizer. Lada says, call in people before I do any tell 50 Cali Foods jokes. Yeah, well, the link is over there if you want to jump on this and actually, uh, give a comment, talk about it. It's open for anybody. If you want to jump in, the link is actually pinned at the top. So if you want to jump in, and let the people know what you feel, what you're thinking of. You know, this is your platform also. So let us know. Aside from that, let's get back to these comments here. Where was I? Okay. Let's see. Tony says, what did Tony say? Tony said, Zapata, I could tell you're raging, punching the air, laughing out. You keep misspelling my name. Zapata, is he right? Let him know. Let's see. Bipolar said, I was fishing for chipmunks. I set my traps. Zapata says, 5 cent nerd. Let's see. Okay, ACP Chemistry says, Mexico and America are bed buddies in keeping us down. How they control all water sources and the land to grow the food, plus to control the food. You know what, ACP Chemistry, you are definitely right about that. It doesn't make sense that not only government but corporations have control over these things. It's weird that and there's one thing I would give credit to Trump as far as him letting the public know that California has always had access to a stream of water up north that can be directed into California. I didn't know that. Nobody ever said that. No government official from the state of California has ever said, you know what, guys, there's a water source up north that we can tap into and take us out of a drought. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until Trump, actually pointed that out. And I'm like, what the hell? And I actually federally gave permission to California to use that water. And apparently, we weren't able to use that water because of a fish. You know, I don't know. Maybe transplant those fishes to another source of water. I'm. I mean, can we not do that? Let's see. Bipolar Chipmunk says, nothing major players. Hotline. Let's run this. That's a good one. Let's see what Zapata Viva says. Zapata Viva says, uh, GTR Nord Peace fuck a house brown. Okay, I need to know what those are. Get. I can't. I'm bad with acronyms. I'm bad with acronyms, guys. Let's see. What do you say? Tony says Zapata be like Starbucks, BFF Princess, Pink. Hey, I get Starbucks. Not all the time, though. Not all the time. Above the Cloud says that they ain't doing that to the Asians and others. And it's interesting that you say that because they actually in Long Beach they went after the Cambodians. And I mean, you could say they're Asian, but and here's the thing, they're brown Asians. I mean, these guys are brown Asians. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there are brown Asians and there are white Asians. I thought that's interesting how there are brown Asians that are naturally brown, and then you have white Asians that are naturally white. It trips me out because here in this continent, everybody was brown, and in Europe, everybody was white. I mean, depending on what year, because from what I know, there was a race, not a race, but uh, I don't know what you would call it, a nation, I guess of Moors, and they were black, and they were in Europe. I don't know. Me personally, I always say I never really care what happened in any other part of this world except this part, because this is my home. I mean, what business do I have worrying about other parts of the world when we have more important things here, like us. Tom Holman, yeah, Tom Holman. That's the borders are. There you go. Okay, guys. So again, the link's there. If you guys want to join. I'll let you in, and you guys can say your part. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, please hit the like button. Let people know that you're here, and the algorithm can pick us up. Tony says Asians be working at the jerk massage studios, but for some reason they ain't getting rated like Gil's butt. He's probably in there. All right, let's see. Guppy says, Zapata, how many people did you scam today at the call center? Okay. All right, you guys are really going after each other, huh? Keep it civilized, guys. Keep it civilized. And creative. Let's see. HCP Chemistry says, what do you say? He said, the elections were rigged. Vote Democrats in America will go into civil war, and vote Republican and get RAZA out and make it successful without them. Interesting. Hey guys, I'm always gonna say vote third party. Vote third party, because then when you vote third party, nobody can blame you for what's going on. I mean, you do run that risk where, like, if things went good, which from what I can tell right now, things have gotten more bad than good. And for you guys that are Trump supporters, I want you to put on the live chat what good has happened with Trump. Because as far as I know, let's see. As far as I know, crypto is fucked because crypto is now being eased into government control. Let's see. As far as exporting, importing, there's still tariffs. There's still the threat of tariffs. As far as war, I mean, we're still protecting other countries, which I thought Trump said we would not do that, but here we are using military force, our military force against other countries and against our own people, like the way the Marines came down here in LA. People, they always said they never thought they would see the day where Marines would start patrolling these streets to go against the people that they swore to protect. And Newscom was letting our water drain to the ocean. I believe that. I definitely believe that. Newscom is definitely. Again, that guy, man. I don't know how we didn't get him out the first recall, because I definitely voted to recall that motherfucker. And I know we had the votes, because I know we had the votes because we had the signatures. I signed that motherfucker to recall that fool. But somehow, some way, this guy still won that. And I don't want to say it's because of those computers that we're using now to vote, but computers are very easily you know hacked or manipulated. Let's see. Where was I? Okay. I probably said nothing. Let's see. Tony says Zapata's name sounds like a pair of cheap leather payless sandals. Hey, Zapata was a general of the Mexican Revolution Army. Let's see. Bipolar Chimo says the thumbnail of AC is Winnie got his prostate. That's funny. Why I have to watch a gay? I don't know if they're gay, man. Well, Casey, you need to stop saying things that get your comments blocked. Although I don't know if you noticed, but there are quite a few what's it called? Oh my god, guys, I already forgot the hold on, what's it called again? I mean moderators. I have quite a few moderators here, so Casey, just be aware that there are moderators here, and they will check you if you are misbehaving. And one thing you got to know about Casey, about these moderators, I've known these moderators for, I mean, I could definitely say I've known a lot of these moderators here for years. Years, not a few months, not a few days, not a few weeks, but years. So if you see moderators here, it's because I've known of them for years, not months. So if they check you, best believe that they believe that you need to get checked. Bipolar says, hey Normies, Scientologists suck as well. They're insane. Yeah, yeah, they're very weird, man. When I see them and their buildings, it's very interesting. You know, they keep to themselves. I would say they keep to themselves until they need to start recruiting people. Then they're passing out their flyers. They're passing out, you know, a lot of shit. ACB Chemistry said, vote green to see how much our vote really counts. You know what? I don't think I voted green this time around. Normally I voted green, but I think this time around the what the heck was her name? I already forgot the girl that I voted for. She's out of either from New York or Chicago, but she was pretty. But she definitely had a lot of good strong arguments as far as how to help the country, how to help the nation. And that's why I voted for her. Fuck, you said illegal native says fuck colonizer enablers. Yes, you know what? For the most part, I mean the colonizers, you know, and that's crazy. And again, it's crazy when and I said this before. It blows my mind that we accept the fact that they came here, wrote on a piece of paper coordinates of land, and signed it with the words stating that that land belongs to them. And then having another witness sign the piece of paper and then notarizing it. And then by doing that process, that land belongs to them now. It blows my mind that we accept that we accept that because these people wrote it on a piece of paper, got a witness to sign it, got it notarized, put it registered it, and now they officially own land. Like, I don't know about you guys, but as far as I know, we can't do that. We can't fill out a piece of paper, put in coordinates to a land, sign it, get a witness, notarize it, and then register it, and somehow, some way, maybe the government might register, but probably not. But that gives us all the power to say that it belongs to us now. So it always blows my mind that we accept this, that we accept that their piece of paper, you know, is the authority. But for the most part, you know, it trips me out though. You know, the whites are getting wild. They're wild. I said earlier, I put a clip of these five people on Fox News channel stating that they're okay being called Nazis. If anything, they accept being Nazis. So far that so much that they would say that, you know, being called a Nazi is their version of the N word for the blacks, and they would say that they should own that the word Nazi the way the blacks own the N word for themselves. They should own it and embrace it and be okay with it, and then they will start calling each other Nazis. You even have one lady said Nazi please. And the guy said, "Oh, I'm glad you said that with a hard I." I thought that was a trip. I thought this has to be a joke. No, they did this. It was actually live. They actually did that. they actually, you know, call themselves Nazis. Like, and this is the problem that some guy is going viral because he accepted the fact, you know what, I'm okay with Nazis. I mean, you could call me that and you could call me a fascist. I'm okay being a fascist, and I accept the way they wanted to run their country. I would like our country to be ran the way the Nazis ran their country. And it blew my mind because this guy was serious. This guy was serious. This guy was okay being called a fascist, being called a Nazi, and embracing the political system that they use and the policies that they executed. And this guy had no problem. And then, mind you, well, when it went viral because he went on a very, I guess, what is a very popular podcast, had millions of views. His company found out the words that he said and fired him. Fired him. Tell him, yeah, he doesn't represent what our company represents, but we have to let them go. So the bro got fired for what he said, for accepting that he is a Nazi. He could consider himself a Nazi at the same time, embracing fascism. And now he started a GoFundMe to ask people for help for getting getting discriminated by his job for his beliefs because in his mind it wasn't fair that his company let him go for those reasons. I thought that was interesting. Again, guys, the link is up there if you guys want to. Oh, my bad. You know what? The link is not up there anymore. My bad on that one. All right, guys, the link is up there if you want to jump in. Let's see. But yeah, for the most part, where was I at? My bad, guys. I completely went off track trying to put trying to put that that link there. So the link is up there. I pinned it up there. If you guys want to join in and say a few words, uh maybe you know argue what I've been talking about or add to it if anything. Oh, I see somebody's trying to troll Marvelous in here. Okay, Casey is trying to make from what I can tell, make a Marvelous say some things. Now, I wonder what's going to happen. But I give credit to Marvelous because he easily has the power to block this individual. But let's see where that one goes. Tony says Casey Gill works in construction, but works harder getting his cheeks clapped by his co-host. Oh man. Uh, let's see. Bipolar Treatment says after AC and Normie's fight, and AC interviewed the LA County District Attorney Nathan Hotchman again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's definitely facts right there. Dang, that is crazy. Well, Casey, if you wanna talk smack to Marvelous, I mean, he does have a DM, or find another way. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Let's see. I totally. You guys really made the chat go a whole nother way. Okay, let me find a comment that isn't related to Marvelous. Let's see. Although Casey, you got a battle on you because you got several other chatters here that are definitely going against you. So you definitely have an uphill here. Oh, okay, here we go. This is great. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only. Okay, here we go. This is great. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only. Lades, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Everyone can hear you, bro. With that voice of yours,
Okay.
Jesus.
All right. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Nobody was calling in, man. So I just figured I'd give this a try. I've never done the StreamYard thing before.
Well, I appreciate you for taking the leap of faith and jumping in here with me.
Yeah, no doubt. There was something you were talking about just a minute ago. Is about the whole Nazi thing. I don't have cable TV, so I just catch the Fox News and all the other clips of different news outlets, and then they got the clips on YouTube and Rumble and whatnot. But
Yes.
I think I might have missed the Nazi thing that you were talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
If you go to my Instagram, you could see it on there. It's one of the top, the newest clips I put up there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, for me though, when I think of that word, I think it's been heavily overused, especially within the last, I don't know, 10 years or so.
Yes.
I think I think people really need to get a different historical reference. You can't always be, just throwing that word around because, like with anything, any kind of word you use to insult people, if you use it a little too much, it's effective. It's not as effective over time, and it kind of the word has a lot of strong connotations, and particularly with people from Israel and of the Jewish faith, and anyone from people like my grandfather who fought in World War II
Yeah.
against the Nazis, and then down to the people who were oppressed by the Nazis. They will say that it's kind of an insult to for people to be so freely throwing that around.
Hmm.
Anything they don't like, they call it fascism or a Nazi or Hitler,
Yeah.
and it does kind of take away the gravity of the word when it's overused.
Definitely, definitely. You're right about that. I mean,
So
I see it the same way. I mean, and I feel the same way when I see people, rock the Southern flag. Also, it doesn't make sense why you're gonna rock the Southern flag a flag that was literally going against what is America now.
yeah,
And that's like saying you don't like this country and you want it to go the way the South wanted to go.
yeah. Well, a lot of people, and when I'm speaking about a lot of people here in the South and in Texas, in particular, they do a lot of white people. They do have that flag, and I know a lot of people who do fly that flag. I mean, they have it in their living room, or they got the beer koozies with the flag on it, and it never offended me because I guess that just didn't hit so close to home for me as far as the Confederate flag. But
Yeah.
how they explained to me, it's more of a flag showing Southern pride rather than an outright symbol of racism, and
Hmm.
that's hard for a lot of people who don't live in the South to understand. But I kind of get where they're coming from because I don't think I've met anybody who flies that flag or has anything with that flag on it that I can say is a hateful person or a racist person. They just got their flag and it's like a symbol of Southern culture, and that's about as far as they take it.
No, I've seen that part of where people would say the same thing, where it's just become part of the culture to have that flag. I mean, like you said, Southern pride.
Yeah,
And but when we really get to the roots of it all, it is a representation of the Confederate Party. They wanted to overthrow the Union and take over the U.S.
yeah,
But for me, the part is that the fact that the Confederate were okay with slavery and wanted to keep that around
yeah.
because you can't
Well,
be cheap
and
labor.
also, yeah. Also, what a lot of people forget is that the KKK and the people who wanted to keep slaves there actually was all started and supported by the Democrats, which they failed to acknowledge these days. I guess because it's not very convenient for them to admit that. But the KKK was a Democrat ran organization, and the
Yeah.
people that during the Civil War times that wanted to keep slaves were Democrats, and I think a lot of that is missed on people who either want to revise history or who are just completely ignorant to some of the things that went on.
Well, no, those are facts. What you just stated right now are facts. Yes, the Democrat Party was definitely born from the Confederates that didn't win, and they needed a party to be able to get their people into the system, as
Yeah.
far as controlling, as far as having their politicians speak on their behalf. But for the most part, I mean, yeah, yeah, Democrats were born from KKK leaders, and that's the part nobody talks about. I never understood that part. It took me a while to find out that backstory, and once I
Right.
found that out, that was one of the reasons why, you know what, I cannot support the Democratic Party for the fact that it is founded on racist people.
Well, and they are very. I think the racism runs so deep within that party. A lot of times they fail to acknowledge it, and and even some of the things they say. One thing which you might have heard recently is I don't know if you saw the Hunter Biden interview the other day.
Yeah. I saw clips of it. I haven't seen the actual. I think it was a 2 hour interview. If I'm not
Uh,
wrong.
yeah, I might have just seen the clips too, but the one part that stood out was where he was referring to immigrants. And this is a narrative that many Democrats use, and I don't know I don't think they realize how racist that they're sounding when they say these things. But they say stuff like, if there are no immigrants here, legal or illegal, if there are no immigrants here, who's going to clean your toilets? Who's going to pick your vegetables?
Wait, did he say
Um,
that?
yeah, he said something about who's going to wash your dishes, who's going to put the food on your table, and it never occurs to these rich millionaire politicians or their kids, like Hunter Biden. It never occurs to them that there might be some immigrants out there who want to come to America to be something more than a dishwasher or
Yes.
or work in the fields. And not that those are bad jobs. Any job, if it's honest work and honest pay, that's a good thing.
That's right.
However, to minimize the face of immigration as domestic servants to clean up after rich people and take care of your kids and wipe their butts, and it never occurs to these people that they might be coming here for something better than domestic help, to be
Yeah.
domestic help. And Jasmine Crockett, she was one of the people who have said something like along that line, as far as minimizing immigrants to just being here to serve rich elites.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting because rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne, but his daughter, Kelly Osbourne, was on The View and said those exact same things. Also,
Oh yeah,
do you
yeah.
remember that?
It's very common, and like I said, I don't think a lot of them know how racist they're coming off, but it is very condescending. And if I'm an immigrant and I'm hearing these things from people here in America, but the first impression I'm getting is I've got a lot to deal with once I get there and meet up with some of these people of the like-minded, with that kind of mind frame.
Yes. Yes. No.
Yeah. But another thing, the protesters, I guess you were kind of mad about. I didn't catch the Dubs and Gunner thing where they said whatever they said, but I guess you were upset that they said something about protesters.
Well, no, it wasn't them. That part wasn't aimed towards them. It was aimed towards all these other podcasters that would invite what you would call successful Chicanos that
Right.
would uh that would downplay that would not downplay but put down their cause, their and say that that's stupid to protest and that it's a waste of time, and then at the end you're just making us look bad by protesting. And for the most part, I know they're really just talking about the people that were creating chaos,
Right.
because for the most part that's what a lot of these outlets pushed out.
Yeah.
The
That's all we're seeing, really.
Yeah, and when I go there, I just see a lot of people that are just chanting, holding up their signs, and just that's it, chanting, singing, dancing, very peaceful, there to protest.
Yeah.
uh And so it upsets me when I see these podcasters invite these very Republican, very conservative people to say, these that their own people is making them look bad, and it's stupid to protest. I don't think any type of protest is stupid. I mean, if you feel like you have to, you feel there's injustice and you need to protest, is your right to do so.
Right.
You know.
And like I had mentioned this earlier in the chat that Obama had by far deported many more people than Trump has, even to date. And I'll ask you, Normies, where do you think this energy was that we're seeing today? Why did not we see this
And
in
Lattice, I
2020?
am glad you asked that question because that question has been being asked a lot, and
Right.
for the most part, I for the most part, the only thing I know, because I was protesting during that time also, because we knew what he was doing. Once the second term came, we were not happy and we were protesting. The thing is, during that time, as we all know, the Democrats had a heavy control over news stream media, the
Right.
mainstream media, the news, mainstream, whatever. They had a very strong control, like CNN, and then they didn't want Fox News. They were okay with the mass deportation. That they weren't going to try to put us out there, and CNN was not going to make Obama look bad. So for the
No.
most part, and pretty much social media wasn't pushing so much, use as they were back then, as they are
Yeah.
now. I mean, had we had these kinds of tools, these people, because a lot of these people are new, like they just popped out in the last, I don't know, 2 to 3 years. And Obama was president like what, like more than 10 years ago?
2008 to 2016.
Yeah, so we didn't have the mobility, we didn't have the people to go on social media platforms. And mind you, this was a time when social media admittedly and admitted that they were being manipulated, they were being controlled by the government.
Right. Everything that had to do with the news cycle as we saw it within that administration was
Mm-hmm.
heavily manipulated and
Yes.
infiltrated by
Mm-hmm.
Obama officials and the DNC,
Mm-hmm.
and everything we saw and read. I'm sure most of it was just outright lies,
Yeah.
but that's how they did it. And
Mm-hmm.
a good example of that is when he built those detention facilities, the newest ones
Mm-hmm.
that are currently being used today. They referred to them as detention facilities. But when Trump got into office, suddenly we were hearing the phrase "kids in cages."
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. They jumped
so
out. They jumped on it quick because they knew exactly what they were. The Democrats knew what it was. The news media that serves the Democrats knew what it was. So they made sure to twist that for Trump.
yeah,
They didn't twist it for Obama because they were protecting him, and they didn't want to show our protests because they were protecting Obama. But believe me, when I say that energy was there, it was there. The protests were there. It's just that we didn't have people the way we have them now, where they're showing up to these protests, they're going live, they're streaming it, they're speaking about it, they're pushing out information. I mean, if we had this kind of uh if we had this kind of ability back in those days and these kinds of people, man, Obama would have looked horribly bad. They wouldn't have been able to deny what he was doing because
well,
we
I
a
think
lot of mhm,
no, I was going to say I think it's a double-edged sword because, like you said, social media is a very powerful tool when it comes to getting out the word. Like if you're a protester, for
yeah,
instance, and you want to protest lawfully, you'll go on social media and put out a call to everybody who is like-minded in your efforts,
yeah,
and it's good. It's good. It's a good tool to organize. But on the other hand, social media has also been weaponized by the from what I can see, the Democrat Party to create chaos where they feel it's needed, and really kind of deputize the average. I don't know. I guess you could say poor person, lower middle class person who might want to get out there and start some trouble,
hmm,
and think that either think they're making a difference or just take advantage of the whole thing, and try and commit crimes under the confusion.
yeah,
But I think social media has been weaponized highly, and
oh yeah,
It's not only calling to arms the protesters, but you're getting a lot of really bad people out there who are doing some bad things, and a lot of them have been arrested. The guy throwing the rocks,
Yes.
who made news, he just got arrested today or yesterday, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah, I
And
think it was yesterday that they finally got him and they put them.
yeah, and meanwhile, none of these politicians are going to come to his aid. He's not a high profile case like the guy who got sent to El Salvador, so he definitely won't be getting any politicians meeting with him for margaritas. He'll more than likely have to eat that charge, and
Oh
um,
yeah.
in the end, it's it's a bad situation, and you got a lot of problems out there, and a lot of people say I'm kind of critical, highly critical of California, and I am, because I used to live there and I used to call it home,
Yeah.
and I hate to see what's become of a lot of parts of California as far as the leadership and even certain cities out there. You have Gavin Newsom took $24 billion to combat homelessness, and that money vanished. Nobody
It did.
no, yeah,
It did.
nobody can say where that money went. And this isn't a couple of coins that you can lose behind your dresser. $24 billion is a lot of money, and I think if that goes missing, you really should have an answer to where it went.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are kind of, they're suspicious of where it went, and a lot of it points to DEI programs and um, you know propaganda. To For instance, when the Palisades fires happened.
Yeah.
Um, when you went to help the Palisades community, there was a big banner on the top of one of the websites that were advertising this, and it was to contribute to Act Blue, which is the DNC's fundraising committee. Now,
Really.
that shows you where their minds are. They weren't really for helping the Palisades, but they were going to jump on that. They were going to piggyback their fundraising on top of a tragedy. And to date, I don't think anybody's so much as tried to rebuild anything out there. um and again,
Yeah.
where's the money? Your fire department cut $17 million from the LAFD, and all of it went to DEI programs, and you didn't have any water in your hydrants, but you had plenty of gay people on the fire department, and that's what mattered. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was pretty sad. And like last year when I went to visit California, I stopped
Yeah.
at a. And I'm gonna wrap this up really quick. I don't mean to keep you on
No,
so
no,
long.
no. Go ahead, man. No, no. Go for it, man. This
Yeah.
is your platform.
But I was really surprised, and and over here we got security measures in stores, and when it comes to high end products. But I had just checked into my motel there in Harbor City, and I went next door to the little store and just to grab some sandwiches or whatever. And I noticed that the sandwiches and the lunch meat were locked up in cases.
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking, this is what California has devolved into. You've become a collection of communities who can't be trusted with lunch meat,
Yeah.
and there has to be something said about a culture of people who are, because if you've come up and you're 25 years old, all you know is that kind of life where you walk in the store and everything's under lock and key.
For the most part, I mean, bro, you gotta think about it. Not even liquor stores they'll do that.
Yeah,
But
and it's really surprising. It's kind of a culture shock to somebody who doesn't, because I haven't lived there in over 25 years, and I've only been there a few times since I've moved. But every time I go, you see a little more of that being, because just the crime and the smash and grabs, all
yeah,
that going on, that it's just too prevalent. And
yeah.
I think they had decriminalized shoplifting there for a good while, and people were taking advantage of that,
Oh yeah,
which
that big time.
yeah, and it doesn't set a good precedent or an example when you basically tell a group of, because it's speaking to young people when you say you can come, steal all you want as long as it's under $1,000 or whatever. And you grow up in a climate of lawlessness like that. When somebody does try and enforce a law or tell you no, the first reaction you're going to get when you've lived in a environment like that, you're going to take offense to it and say, well, I've always lived like this. I've always been able to steal, to rob, and face little to no consequences. So it's a very volatile climate when it comes to stuff like protesting and enforcing law enforcement out there, because a lot of the politician and leadership out there have really dropped the ball as far as allowing these things to happen and progress to the extent that they have. I mean, it's there's a lot going on in California, and I really hope for the better that y'all can get some competent leadership out there.
That's probably not going to happen. The Democrats have a very strong grip on the state right now, and they're going to have it for quite a few decades because uh, Nancy Pelosi is definitely funding the DNC here, and the she after all the millions of dollars she made with all that inside information as far as stock market,
Yeah,
they have an endless supply of money coming their way. And
yeah,
unfortunately, this state really went down as soon as the Democrats took over. Um,
right,
and mind you, and then that wouldn't have happened if the Republicans didn't decide they wanted to just be all out racist. Shout out to
right,
TC the G. Yeah, because when and the moment it all switched was when Pete Wilson was the governor.
right.
And when Pete Wilson decided that, you know what, I'm gonna go after them Mexicans and start deporting them and start taking away things from them and just outright just call out Mexicans.
Yeah,
It all went down here from there. That's when the one of the most massive protests in California history happened, and there was all Mexicans and the Republicans lost all their political power the year after, and ever since then the Democrats have been running the show, and then ever since then the state has been going down as far as policy, as far as protecting people's rights, as far it's just been all bad.
yeah. And a lot of people are looking towards Gavin for the presidency, possibly in 2028. But I don't see it. I don't think he's a good choice. I definitely think if for those people who are Democrats out there, if you want to be taken seriously again, you really need to start picking better leaders for your party. When you put people up there like AOC and Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass, I mean these are people who are kind of really far out there as far as the extreme on their political beliefs.
Yeah,
And
and but that's why I don't like. I have a new thing where I don't like career politicians. I don't. We've had enough of them. Clearly, they're not working out. We don't
well, that's
need
why
career
that's why we have
politicians.
Trump right now.
Yeah, that's why we have Trump, and
A lot of people were tired of career politicians on both ends of the aisle.
yeah, and for the most part, California needs to wake up and say we don't need Republicans, we don't need Democrats, we just need a third party that's gonna fix shit over here.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense that this state makes so much money, but everybody's broke. Well, everybody that isn't rich is broke.
Oh yeah, and if y'all keep getting rid of the refineries out there, gas is going to go to $8, $9 a gallon, and no one's going to see it coming until one day you can't afford to drive down the street. So
Well, we're gonna have to import them from other states, man. That's
yeah,
what's
well
gonna
that's
happen.
that's going to cost money, but yeah, you could have the refineries working there. But Gavin Newsom ran a few of them out of California a while back, and gas is not getting any cheaper out there.
Well, and then it's not regulated either. It's not regulated, and then and you know what?
Yeah,
I honestly do believe it should be regulated, but the nation doesn't look too kindly to government regulating things like that because of capitalism.
yeah, yeah.
But
So
I believe it should be regulated. Things like that should be regulated because it, it's involved too much as far as as far as our lives. We need gas to like go to work. We need gas to deliver goods. So how is it that it's hurting? The prices are hurting us. I mean, it doesn't make sense for me. And that's the thing with capitalism too. I mean, capitalism does have its good things, but it also has its bad things.
yeah, yeah, it hurts some people and helps others, and that's the way it's always been, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm hoping things get better for everywhere for everybody, because like out here we just had those floods. I don't know if you've heard much about those over
Oh yeah,
there.
yeah, 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 yeah. It was pretty bad, man.
Yeah, one night it just started raining, and after 4 hours of just constant rain. I looked at my girlfriend. I said, "Hey, something's wrong here. This because usually these storms they come through and they move out. This thing just sat on top of us and just rained for like 5 hours straight."
And I got a question for you about that one. But give me a second. I'm gonna let Joe in and to be
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
the
go.
conversation.
Yeah.
Uh, Joe, can you hear me, Joe?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
All right, Joe. I'm gonna ask Lotus a question, and then you could chime in, okay?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, Lotus, from what I hear, and I don't know if this is factual, if this is true, that the Biden administration did give some sort of money or funding to work on flood control systems over there. Now, and they got denied or wasn't used at all. Do you know if that's there's any truth behind that?
Well, if you're speaking of anything he did while he was during his presidency, I didn't follow it then because we this is the first time we've ever had anything on this scale
Yeah.
as far as a flood. But I can bet that it's probably a lot like how he did the people of North Carolina, who lost everything out there, and I think they were offered like $700, and what got a lot of people.
Oh, no, 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 not like that. I mean, like as far as Biden giving funding for that part of Texas
Yeah.
to develop infrastructure to avoid those
Yeah.
kinds of floodings.
Well, the worst part of the flooding happened in hill country, and it's a lot different terrain than what we're here in West Texas. Out
Yeah.
here, we're just flat, so all the water here,
Oh,
yeah. If like for instance here, most of the water is going to seek lower ground, which there's not too many differences in our land. Here it's mostly just flat. Over there in the hill country, you're talking about South Texas and Central Texas. There's a lot of hills and valleys and crevices, and there's a lot of places for water to collect. So when they get flooded to that extent, it gets really bad. The levees break. All kinds of shit happens. Now we have really good infrastructure as far as that. I don't recall if Biden offered any more or uh, any help in that area. But we the problem that happened this last time as to why it was such a tragedy and took so many lives was because the people didn't take the warning seriously. A lot of people say they weren't warned ahead of time, and it did start in the middle of the night, so many people were sleeping.
yeah.
By the time they woke up, their water was already coming in their house. So, like for instance, that camp full of those girls that died, they're in the middle of nowhere. They're not allowed to take their cell phones to that camp, so the communication was very sparse, if any, because there's a lot of dead zones out there where you don't get signals. So
Oh, okay.
most of it was just people that dropped the ball and didn't take precaution and mind those warnings that were coming in. And by the time they decided to take it seriously, it became too late. But as far as the Biden administration, I'm not aware of anything they gave us um, to prepare for that. They may have. I just didn't hear about it.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that info. Joe, what do you have to put into this conversation?
Yeah, I just wanted to clear something up. So I heard you guys say that Gavin Newsom is the one that's closing down the refineries. Well, actually, the reason why they're closing down is because of legislation that the Terminator put on. All those rules that are happening right now is because of the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
When he was
What the
governor, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was governor, but he kicked the ball like a lot of politicians do, right? So in 20 years from now, we want California to be green, and all those regulations that are happening right now are supposed to take in effect next year.
So you're
So
saying
now
that okay.
everybody was kicking the ball down the road, which is what they do with immigration, but that's another topic. So now that it's happening, they're not knowing what to do. The Republicans are not letting the Democrats change the law or kick the law down the road. They want to implement them. So I mean, a lot of it. this is what happened. A lot of it, when you listen to one side or the other, like the people that support Newsom, like probably CNN, they're gonna say he's the greatest. The people that hate him, like Fox News, they're gonna say he's the worst. So you have to go somewhere down the middle, and that's where usually the information is.
Interesting, interesting.
So I don't know if you guys weren't informed, but there was
No, that
that's pretty much what it was.
that's interesting. You know, I never really thought as to far as going back and seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger's governor years and as and what policies he had pushed as far as
So it's
the
yeah, yeah. So
refineries.
it's that, and then obviously this big corporation, California, they get taxed a lot, so they're gonna want to move to another state. So it's pretty much just greed on their part, and they're just gonna blame the politicians, which is a typical move. But that's all pretty much propaganda. It's not gonna happen. We're not gonna go to $8 what's it called, a gallon, or $10, whatever. They'll figure it out. But anyway,
Interesting.
I don't have much time. That's all I had to say. And hey Norby, keep up this content, bro. Stay away from that drama, bro. That's not your lane. It's not your lane. Fucking around with Barbalist and all them fools. That's not your lane. My
I
my
appreciate.
suggestion to you is just stay away from all that. That's not your lane. Let them cholos handle their beef. You're not that. You're not from that lifestyle. Just stay away from it. Well, that's just my humble opinion.
No,
Anyways,
no,
I'll
I
talk to you guys
appreciate
later.
that. Thank you, man. I appreciate your info. Thanks, Joe. Okay, so I do see that there is Arnold Schwarzenegger did have this he signed the California Global Warming Solution Act of 2006, and that is a landmark bill that capped greenhouse gas emissions and set reduction targets for the state. So yeah, okay, for the most part, the Arnold Schwarzenegger that ran as a Republican this start of a lot of the California air a lot of these policies that were to protect the environment. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, yeah. Thanks to the the caller just now for clarifying that. But yeah, that is something I had heard though. Just the lack of domestic oil, whether it was refineries there or anywhere here in the U.S. that eventually hurts economies, even local economies, and you see your gas prices go up. But yeah,
Oh yeah, bro. They're high up, bro. They're way high up. It's all bad. But I'm glad that we had that he gave in that input because I didn't even think as to ever look that back as far as the topic of refineries here in California.
oh yeah, yeah. And I remember. Am I still on?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember Schwarzenegger as the they called him the governor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do too well. He did not win that second term. Well,
No.
and again, it all goes back to Pete Wilson. When people found out that Pete Wilson was part of his team after some months, then he got no more votes.
Yeah, and this was also a time when the Republicans were very cozy with the religious right, and a lot of people were not, I mean, including myself, were not fans of that crowd. Um, I did not vote Republican back then because of a lot of the people they kept company with, the really radical religious folks, and they just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, I always, but I'm a strong believer that church and government should be separate from each other.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Try telling the some of the politicians here in Texas that, like, there's a lot of them here that still want.
well, let me ask you, Lattice, how do you feel with the way Trump is pushing the Christianity part aspect of as far as integrating it with the government, the way the government works?
I'm not sure. Like, how do you mean?
Because he has a spiritual advisor. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
Oh
Uh,
no,
it's
and that might just be something that he throws out there just to kind of keep the voters who are of that faith.
yes, yes.
Because
Because as
a
far
lot
as
of
I know, he
people,
converted to Judaism.
the Trump converted to Judaism.
Yes.
Oh, I hadn't heard of that, but
Yeah.
Um,
He said in an interview that he ended up converting.
huh.
I was
Well, I
like,
never heard of that. What I had heard though is that a lot of people doubted that he had any kind of religious interest at all, because he's always just kind of been a money guy, and
yeah.
nobody ever really knew him throughout his life as any kind of religious type figure.
Oh,
But
there's no perfect religion for money type.
well, uh, I don't know. I mean, look at a lot of the mainstream religions here in the U.S. They all generate enormous amounts of wealth, using their religious banner to
For the
make it.
most part, yeah, they do. They really do. The religion does definitely have another. That's another. I don't know what you would call it, but that's one of those things that have a hold over this country and the way it looks at things.
Yeah, well, there are people that want this country to turn into a theocracy where everybody is made to worship, I guess, whatever brand of religion they would like, whether it's Christianity or Catholicism. But that would be kind of like what the Muslim countries do, and we all see how well that goes. So,
Yeah, yeah, for the most part. And it's funny because for the most part, I don't know if you know, but for the most part, I don't really I'm not really. I wouldn't say I'm part of any of those main. What you would consider mainstream religions either.
right.
I've always said it like because of my own background, my own indigenous roots. I tend to, in a sense, be on a spiritual journey to find, my own religious belief.
Yeah, and a lot of people who talk a lot about um, colonizing and the colonizers. Religion was part of that. They have to remember that.
That part, right? That part.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when the pilgrims, a lot of people call them the pilgrims, when they set foot in in modern what's modern day Mexico and in the Americas,
Yeah.
there was nobody there worshiping anybody named Jesus.
No, no. But you try to tell that to the what are their names? The Mormons.
Oh yeah, no, you can't tell them anything.
No, no, he was in Arizona. I was it Arizona or Utah? He was in one of those states.
Oh yeah, yeah, that them and the Christian Scientologists. I mean, there's just so much out there. It's hard to keep track of everybody's insanity, but yeah, there are people that would love for the country to be ruled by a religious leader rather than an impartial um, servant of the people, which is what politicians are originally supposed to be. They're here
Exactly
to,
right.
they're here to serve the public, not their own interests, not an organized religion, or they're here to serve the people. And I think that's missed on a lot of politicians these days.
Well, I have a strong feeling that history is repeating itself, and I'm saying that as far as the going back to the Boston Tea Party times, where we're at a point where we're getting taxed with no representation.
Oh yeah,
And I think we're there. I think we're at that point, and it's at a boiling point, and we're just looking for a reason to finally say, you know what, we're done paying taxes because clearly you guys are not representing us
yeah, and that's why a lot of people want to get rid of the IRS. They think it's just another form of extortion.
for the most part. For the most, yeah, you know what it is because I mean, that's a whole nother big topic to get into. The IRS, the Federal Reserve. I mean, it's a whole nother topic. People have been assassinated for speaking on those things publicly. Also, at least some people were. But Lattice, for the most part, I think I'm done. It's already around 10 o'clock. I think I went a lot longer than I thought I was gonna go. But Lattice, are you still there? Can you hear me? Lattice?
You dropped my call.
No, no, you're gonna get me on that too.
No, you couldn't hear me for a minute.
No, I couldn't hear you there for a second.
Oh, okay.
For
Yeah, no, I was
uh,
just saying. Yeah, it was a great show tonight, and it was cool being able to chime in on this platform. This is my first time using it, so hopefully I get to jump on here more often.
Definitely. I hope you and the rest of the rest of everybody on the chat here gets an opportunity and comes in here and talks, because for the most part I always say this channel, when me and the Jedi made it, we made it for the part that this is for everyone. Where other podcasters, that you need to be somebody to be on their shows. Where here you just got to be you.
Exactly, exactly, and that's why I think a lot of people really dig your form.
Nah, I appreciate that. Oh, okay. Now he definitely left. Oh, he got dropped. I didn't drop him. I didn't drop him. Okay. But Lades, hey, I appreciate you for jumping in tonight. I hope a lot of you guys jump in next time. And definitely, I would definitely want a panel of a lot of you guys in here and talking about certain topics. So I'm going to try my darnest to make sure that I come on here more and get you guys up here to like talk and share your thoughts, because I with the community really needs to know what you guys are all thinking, and what your ideas and thoughts are, in your opinions. It's very important to the community that we all conversate, we all communicate, and we talk to each other. So for the most part, thank you to everybody that came in tonight and talked and expressed themselves. I definitely do appreciate all of you guys that were here in the live chat. And shout out to Lisa for that super chat. I very much appreciate that. For the most part, if it lets me play this intro, I know it won't. So I guess they're really screwing me on that one. So, anyways, guys, thank you very much for coming tonight, and I will see you on the next one. I appreciate all of you. Please hit the like button and share it, put it on your community post so your peoples can watch it, and your followers. And for the most part, thank you to everyone. So, everyone have a good night. Be blessed, and much love to everyone. Good night, guys.